our extra bonus book club read that I fitted in for March, because after reading Love You to Death by this same author, I was like, oh, I really, really want to read Class Trip. So I'm so glad that we picked this one, because it was a lot of fun. And yeah, definitely inventive kills, much like Love You to Death as well. So that was pretty cool. Right, I'll just add our special guest in. If I can see her cat. Da, 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 da. Hope you guys are doing okay. I can't wait. I want to find out how many other books this author did as well, just to see. Hi, Kat.
Hello. How are
Hello. You
you?
okay?
I'm good, thank you.
Good, good. Thank you for joining us. This was definitely a trip.
Definitely.
Oh, because I was just saying, we read last month. We read "Love You to Death" by the same author, and
hmm
that had some really inventive kills. So I was like, "Oh, I really want to read Class Trip now. Can I fit it in March and like do a little chat about it?" So thank you for saying yes and
Glad I
joining
could help.
us. Hi, Sharon. Hi, other Sharon as well. Oh, so obviously our special guest is no stranger to our little book club. In fact, she's just part of the Point Horror family now, aren't you, Kat?
Yeah.
Yeah! So we have the amazing Kat Ellis, an award-winning young adult author from North Wales, and you write YA thrillers and horror, and they're all just brilliant. I just always recommend Kat's books because I just love Kat's writing. So, so good.
Thank you very
So
much.
you're welcome. So Kat's novels enjoy The Devouring Light, which I've got here, which came out last year. And I always love that spooky cover art. Is just fantastic. I love it. The colouring, oh, just gives me Point Horror vibes as well, definitely. But we've also got Wicked Little Deeds, Harrow Lake. Just look up Kat Ellis and just buy all of her books, basically.
Yeah.
So obviously when Kat's not writing, you usually found adventuring and you go to like ruined castles, cemeteries, and you'd post them on in your stories sometimes. And I'm like, wow, I don't know whether I'd be that brave. So have you ever been to like an abandoned, isolated island maybe on your travels?
Not an abandoned, isolated island. I've been to, ruins and all sorts of things like that, but an island I have yet to do.
Oh, okay, on your bucket list then.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially after reading this book.
Or maybe not after reading this.
Well, yeah. Just hide the flare guns and the little palming knives. You'll be
And
fine.
poison.
No poison. Yeah, definitely. So, obviously, this was under the night. I lost my train of thought then. I was too busy thinking about poison. So this was published under the Nightmares banner here in the UK, which was like a UK banner. But obviously, they very much like Point Horror picked up from books that were published in the US. So that's like the US cover, or one of them, because I've seen a few different ones. Oh, and in fact, it's got a different tagline on the US one. So it says, "The in crowd is hanging out with a killer." I actually kind of like that. So on this one, we've got "alone with a friend or a killer" for the tagline. Oh, interesting how they changed that. But yeah, so the Nightmares kind of picked up like books from the US and then put their little logo on, very much like Point Horror. And there's like loads of these Nightmare books. Like I think they're all up there, like on that top shelf, going
Yeah.
all the way across. But I don't know whether I've got them all. I need to do a list just to
Yeah.
see.
I remember reading these when I was a teenager. I can't tell you anything about the ones that I read, but I remember reading them in the library.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, did you remember reading any? Because I remember seeing them, but I think I was just that obsessed with Point Horror that I kind of it passed me by a little bit, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I do recommend them. The two that we've read so far, we've enjoyed. So
Good.
Sharon said the setting of this one was really cool. She wrote it very well, and I was hooked in. Yeah, do you like a creep? Well, of course you like a creepy setting, but do you like it when they're completely isolated off from, normality, from humanity even?
Definitely. I mean, the first thing you need to do is get rid of the adults. and then cut off any possible avenue to get help, and you've
Mm,
got a story. So
yeah, definitely. Oh, I do love like a creepy island setting as well. Definitely. Agatha Christie vibes it always gives me
yeah.
with an island. So this one then, I did a little blurb of what it's about. So Angie and her new friends in the elite in crowd sign up for a science trip to Shadow Island in order to gain extra academic credit. So starting off at a hostel base, and after their teacher chaperones come down poorly, which we'll have a chat about in a second, seven students vamoosed and took the trip themselves. I love the end of that chapter where it just said they vamoosed.
Yeah.
And they take a trip, so they begin with a long canoe ride down Doon River onto a smaller narrow river called Bly River, and then that would empty into Storm Lake with Shadow Island directly in the middle of the lake. So they had quite a trip to get there, to be honest. Sounds idyllic, right?
Delightful. No sun at
Yeah,
all.
yeah, that's it. Just paddling down the river. So yeah, sounds idyllic until they see the old abandoned hunting lodge that they'll be staying in, and then they start getting picked off one by one. And a storm destroys the canoes. The group discover they're helplessly trapped, and they've obviously got a murderer in their midst. But is it the escaped psychiatric patient? I can't speak today. Called Amos, or could it be actually one of them who is the killer? Dum dum dum. And I saw Sharon put lovely juicy kills in this one. Yeah, we'll definitely be chatting about that. So we obviously start the book off then with like a prologue that, well, it's not really a prologue. You see the ending point of view a little bit at the beginning. You get a little taste of the killer and victim, but you just don't know who they are.
Mm.
And obviously it starts off with saying in the beginning there were six long-standing members of the elite group at Oak Ridge High, true aristocrats of the high school. So did you like the opening scene and like the glimpse of the ending that you saw at the beginning? Or were you not a fan of that?
I don't mind it. To me, when I see one of those, usually it says to me, okay, there's going to be quite a slow build up to
Mm,
the action happening if they're having to throw this in at the beginning.
yeah,
Um, I don't mind it, but it's sort of like it tells me it's going to be kind of a slow build to the murder,
yeah, yeah,
which it kind of was really.
yeah, definitely. But for me, and I'll be honest, I rarely guess the killers in books. But I, from that opening, I knew exactly who it was going to be as soon as I was introduced properly to them.
Yeah.
Um, so there will be spoilers ahead for who that is. But yeah, it just gave it away. And I think I messaged you saying, "Oh, I can't wait to read more to see if I'm actually wrong," because I'm normally wrong. But I was right, and I was like really like pleased. But I just think it gives it away. I think it's a little bit obvious. Did you
Well,
think that, or
I didn't get it from that scene. Um,
ah?
I I thought quite early on from something that was said. Uh,
Mm,
I did think, oh, hang on, I think I know who it is. But then events that happened after that, I was like, oh, that doesn't actually make sense then.
yeah. Oh, interesting. Okay, we'll get into that. Oh, so obviously Angie is our point of view.
Hmm.
As I said, there will be spoilers. Hopefully, most people in the chat have read the book, but come back if you haven't, and see us chat later. But obviously, Angie has had a major makeover to get in the elite group. Her wardrobe, her body,
The
even she's lost
glasses,
weight. She's wearing contact lenses now. So she used to have these like thick horn rimmed glasses that James, one of the other characters, found quite horny. But yeah, so she's gone to lengths to get into this group,
mm,
which gave me red flag straight away as
yeah,
well. And obviously we find out her father owns a chain of pharmacies, makes her family quite wealthy, I guess. She's a bit of a science nerd. And she'd rather face a ghost than a mouse, apparently, she says at some point, which Fair. So, when we're first introduced to Angie, then what did you think of her? Did you like her and seeing it from her point of view?
Yeah, I didn't dislike her. I was suspicious over why she would go through this big transformation just to fit in with them.
Mm,
Um, and I didn't see the appeal really. She didn't make the others sound particularly fun to hang out with. Uh,
no.
so I was like, okay, well, why then? I
Yeah.
mean, it becomes clear why, but
It does. But I'm with you. Like I was, like, why has she gone to these lengths just to get in with this group? Like there didn't seem to be any reason. She did just hate them, especially Melanie. Like she
mm,
really hated Melanie. But it just didn't make sense, did it? And that just gave me red flag straight
yeah.
away. I was like, something weird.
I mean, Melanie in particular was somebody worth hating.
Yeah. Oh, yes. She was. She was awful. Those one-liners that she said to Angie, and then Angie's like, "One of these days, I'm gonna get back at her." It was
And
so
she did.
cool. Yeah, she really did. And I loved the later in the book. I think they're searching the cabin because someone's been poisoned. There's got to be cyanide somewhere in the cabin, and I love the embarrassment that she has over her knickers.
Mm.
She's like, "Oh, I just don't think knickers are worth spending money on," and I'm
I
like, "Go,
mean,
Angie!"
yeah, that was really relatable.
I know. I was like, I feel that. Oh, dear. So she didn't include that in her makeover. Oh, dear. So obviously we find out she had a friend called Michael who is deceased before the book starts, and we find out that he has gone off a cliff in his car and died. So obviously, it's implied that she loved him
Mm.
and that they were really good friends. But did you get the impression that the feeling was mutual, like especially down the line when we find out a
No,
little
it
bit
was,
more? It sounds a bit
yeah.
stalkerish,
Yeah. Well, I got the
maybe.
sense that they were friends. She felt more for him. He didn't
Mm,
because he was into Christabel, who's like the queen bee of Oakwood.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
thought, okay, this is unrequited and,
yeah,
get out of it. See how it
yeah.
goes.
I agree. I think it just came across a bit like she had this crush. He wasn't reciprocating, but she just believed it to be true. And
Mm.
then obviously she sets out on this revenge plot. I'm just gonna have to spoil it straight away. But she sets out on this revenge plot of like getting all the people because Michael had gone to a party at Christabel's. He'd managed to worm his way in. They all kind of got him drunk, apart from Tracy. And obviously then put him in the car and he has an accident and dies. So it turns into this like revenge plot, which I'm quite into, like revenge stuff like that. Not in real
Yeah.
life.
Okay. If you're sure.
Maybe.
Yeah, I like a good revenge story. And
Mm,
I think for me, it was when she first said, "I'm doing this for Michael," about getting in with the in crowd.
yeah.
That was when the red flag for me. I was like,
Ah,
doing this for
yeah.
Michael. Okay, I have my
Mm.
suspicions now. It must be you. But
Yeah.
yeah, but I do like a good revenge story. It has sort of I know what you're doing
Yeah.
last summer vibes, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really did. Especially like I know I'm jumping ahead to the end, but especially the end, like in the woods, it was definitely like I still know what you did last summer vibes, where that whole end scene in the rain and the graves, so cool. um, so before we move on to the other characters, I just wanted to mention Mr. Holmberg and Mrs. Holmberg.
Oh, the poor Holmbergs.
Oh, because I was howling at because they really paint a picture of Mrs. Holmberg so well. So they were obviously the chaperones for the trip, And obviously Mr. Holmberg's the science teacher. He's the one providing the extra credit. And he's really into studying this flora and fauna in the heavily wooded island that they're going to. Obsessed, he was, obsessed. And obviously Mrs. Holmberg comes along. She's also a teacher. But I was howling at that scene where I feel awful, where she comes down and she's clearly not well and they've been up all night. And she said she's got an extremely distressing intestinal affliction.
We've all been there.
We've all been there, but now that's what I'm going to call it from now on.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, bless her. I mean, oh, she was in a little bit of a state, and the way they describe her, that she's so dishevelled and
You can just
and
sort of picture her, can't you? Just sort of coming down all shaky and sweating. It's like,
yeah,
oh.
oh bless, I know. So then obviously, she doesn't really agree to the kids going on their own. They kind of get pushed in. Sorry about that. Someone was trying to ring the iPad while I'm on it, but yeah, obviously she doesn't kind of agree to it, but then she gets pushed into it, and Christabel kind of like tells Angie to shut up when she's trying to be the sensible one. So
Mhm.
then I kind of think if Angie had this plot, obviously the ideal thing would be to get rid of the adults, right? So why was
Mhm.
she trying to talk her out of it? Did
Exactly.
you
This is
think
one of the
that?
things that
Mm,
started like to not make sense to me. I thought, giving the benefit of the doubt, maybe she's doing it to sort of keep up appearances, so later when people start to die, they'll won't suspect her. But because it never
yeah,
came up again, I thought, was that just a mistake in the plotting, or was it
yeah.
intentional? I wasn't sure.
Or was she actually planning to off the teachers as well? Collateral damage like Tracy.
Yeah, I mean, you can sort of see why she didn't do it at that point, because if the
Mm,
teachers had died, they wouldn't have gone on the camping trip, would they?
yeah, yeah, and then she wouldn't have got her final. Well, she didn't get it, but her final girl moment that she wanted at the end. Then, would she?
Yeah.
So true, but yeah. So she could have she could have got herself in a bit of a pickle there, really.
Yeah.
Hmm. Unless she was just planning to do it all at the hostel and not didn't want to go and stay in the cabin.
Yeah.
Never
I mean,
know.
they could have made it sound a bit like she was doing it just as a token gesture, like, "Oh no, don't, we can't go on the camping trip." But they didn't really do that. It sounded like she was sincere.
Yeah, and then obviously Christabel's like, "Shut up, Angie."
It's like practically grabbing her by the
Yeah,
throat, like, "You do not say that."
don't want to ever hear you say that ever again. I was like, whoa. Oh dear. Sharon put, even though it was obvious who it was still a fun read. And then the other Sharon has put, I generally didn't see who it was coming. I was just blindly went from murder to murder, clueless. Oh, Sharon, I love that. I think I was just too suspicious at the start and I couldn't get past it.
Yeah, I think I was too busy looking for who it could possibly be, and
Yeah,
nobody else was jumping out at me. But then I
yeah.
did start second guessing myself, as I say, because I was seeing Angie like getting really like distressed and scared while the
Mm,
murders were happening, and I was like, well, it can't be her then, because why would she
mm.
be so scared?
She
Because
did
it's so
do a good job.
yeah, but
Acting. Suspicious.
it's one of those situations where you kind of wonder whether the writer had already decided at the beginning who the murderer
Mm.
was going to be, or if she hadn't yet decided and just left it to
Yeah,
the
I'd
end.
love to know. Like,
Yeah.
that's one thing. Like, I'd love to ask authors, like, did you always know, or did it ever change?
Mm.
Have you ever had it when, what you've planned has changed and then it's
Oh
just
yeah,
completely different? Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
definitely. I mean, I always sort of go back and sort of seed it through when I've decided who it was. So I plant
Mm,
the red herrings and the clues and all that. But
yeah.
yeah, I mean, maybe she just missed a few things.
Maybe. Sharon said, I especially love the flare gun death. Yeah, that was so cool.
I was
So
surprised by the
creative.
amount of damage that a flare gun could do.
Yeah, in fact, I had a little look on Google. I'm so getting arrested. Um, just to be like, would it cause this much damage? And I mean, I didn't get a definitive answer, but it would cause some damage close range, and at least anyway.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
yeah,
if it was, this is really gory now, but if it was like in the face, I could see how that might kill somebody, like in
yeah,
the eye socket or whatever. But back of the
yeah,
head,
yeah. I mean, it's quite tough, isn't it? It's got to,
yeah.
unless she was like right, smack bang up to his head, maybe. Because I think it was described something like it was like mushed raspberries or something. I was like,
Oh,
oh,
I actually made a note of that because it was one of my favourite quotes from the book. It was Melanie said, "Did you see his head? It looked like a pot of stewed raspberries." And I was like,
oh,
"Oh, that's disgusting," but I love
yeah,
it.
same. And I was like, not getting any raspberries from the shop this week. No, thank you. It was such a good description though, because I was just like, oh, you can just picture exactly, just from that one sentence, exactly what it looked like. But
Mm,
yeah, oh, bless him.
yeah, and was it Ron John?
Ron, and yeah, I think it was
Ron John.
Ron.
I don't know why I keep
Yeah,
calling him Ron John. Ron Johnson, his name, isn't
yeah,
it?
Ron Johnson. They should
In
have
my
just
head, he's
done
Ron John.
Ron John. That would be easier. Yeah. So yeah, so Ron was kind of like he was Christabel's boyfriend.
Mm.
So he's like the typical jock, wasn't he? Muscles, over 6 foot tall. And that's where I had a question as well. Because I want to know how tall Angie was, because if he was over 6 foot, I mean, I'm quite small and I struggle, my husband's over 6 foot. And
Mm.
I struggle to reach up to the back of his head. So questions. Unless you stood on something, maybe.
Yeah.
Never know.
I mean, I suppose she must have been quite close to him, but I suppose she wouldn't have had to have been like right,
Mm,
right up next to him. So maybe she was like a few feet away and could just aim it up.
yeah. At least it would have been quite instant for him. It just, at least he didn't see it coming. He just heard it coming. But yeah, he was like, apparently he was the most popular boy at the school, president of the student government, captain of the football team, the classic jock character. But other than when he was, pulp, what did you think of Ron? Did you like him, or was he just like collateral damage?
I did like him. I found it a little bit weird. Maybe I missed something, so fill me in if I did. But at the
Yeah.
beginning, he's with Christabel, and about halfway through, suddenly they hate each other, and I wasn't sure why.
I think it was just Christabel being a bit of a bitch, to be
But yeah,
honest.
see that. But she'd been that way the whole way through, so I couldn't
Yeah.
see why he suddenly didn't like that about her. But
Yeah.
maybe,
It was a bit random, but maybe he was just over it because she was being like overly dramatic. Like those whole scenes when they got to the cabin were hilarious. And she's like, "What do you mean there's no bathroom?" There's like a little outhouse at the back.
I'd have been like that as well, to be fair.
Yeah, same. But yeah, I'm with you. He did just change. It was almost like he had a change in character, but maybe it was so we felt a bit sorry for him before he got
Yeah,
flared.
I mean, I definitely did feel sorry for him. He didn't deserve the raspberry to the head thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was me. I was like, yeah, flare gun, woohoo!
Well, yeah, I mean, I won't say that I didn't enjoy it because by that point I was just like desperate for a murder.
Yes,
So I did
yeah.
like it, yeah.
I saw Sharon said we all hated Melanie.
Mm.
So obviously Melanie is the classic, bestie of the queen bee who hangs on Christabel's coattails all the time. Brunette, dark eyes. She's got a bag full of cosmetics, and I love the line that said, "Heaven forbid she's caught without her frosted blue eyeshadow."
Yeah.
I was like, sign of the times.
What a look.
Oh, and she's obviously got this streak of bitchiness, and as we mentioned, she really hates Angie, and the feeling's mutual. What did you think of Melanie? Did you like her? She gave me a few laughs, I have to say.
She was a funny character to read.
Yeah.
Obviously, you weren't meant to like her because she
No.
is nasty. But other than James, she's the only one there who remembers Angie from before the transformation.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
like with hindsight, I was thinking, well, actually, Melanie was right to be a bitch stewer because Angie
Mm.
was a murdering, you know.
Yeah, that's so true. I didn't think of it like that because I thought, we find out that Melanie kind of thinks that Angie fancies Chip. I think it was her other half, wasn't it? Um, and obviously Angie's like, no, no, I don't. But she's obviously got that impression, and that's why she's got this other hate for Angie as well. She thinks she's after her man.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, yeah, you never know. But I did love it when I noted down one of the things that Melanie says to Angie. It's a little bit later in the book, but she says to Angie that Angie's cold inside. And then she says, "Oh, you act all sweet and friendly, but I've seen you carve up a frog in biology."
I mean, some good foreshadowing there.
Yeah, definitely. And I
Yeah.
want to know how she carved that frog in biology, to be honest, because for people to notice, there must have been, bit, bit much.
Yeah.
Oh dear. And obviously I love the scenes where they're running around like ideas of who could be the killer
Mm.
in the cabin, and kind of Angie puts her hand up. So when they say, "Oh, Melanie," but what could be Melanie's motive? And Angie's like, "I've got one,"
Yeah.
like
She's like,
straight away.
stand aside. I've got this one.
She's like, jealousy. That scene just made me laugh because I could just imagine like Angie thinking, yes, I can get one up on her. I know
Yeah.
exactly what her motive would be.
Yeah. Her time to shine, definitely.
Yeah.
She'd been storing that up for a while, I could tell.
You just imagine like putting her arm up straight away. I've got one. And then obviously towards the end as well, we've got Melanie turning hysterical because obviously all these murders are happening and they're all paranoid about this poison maybe that's hidden in the cabin and who the killer is. And Melanie turns hysterical and Angie just gets up and slaps her on both cheeks
Yeah.
just to calm her down. Like, but I think it's like a like one after the other.
I know. It was like, she'd seen it in a film and always wanted to do it. So, like, here we go. Now's the chance.
I think she just lived out. Angie just lived out all her like wants in life. Like I've always wanted to do this.
Yeah. It's like,
Definitely.
her Patrick Bateman checklist that she just wanted to tick off everything.
Oh, it's so true. And obviously as well, obviously Melanie's victim number 4, and she gets poisoned,
Mm.
and her lips turn blue, and she starts twitching, which, like, it was just really vividly described as well. It was only really quick, but just the way she's like lying on the floor, oh, she's still twitching. I'm like, oh, dear, didn't didn't like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't entirely sure about, because there was a thing about switching teacups, wasn't there, with the
Mm.
poisoning scene. So I wasn't sure at that point, had Angie intended to kill Melanie or Christabel there?
Yeah, see, I thought the same. I thought that she was meant to kill Christabel.
Mm.
That's what I thought, but Christabel swapped the cup round to basically calm Melanie down or try and help, didn't she? And
Yeah.
then that's when they all think then, well, they turn it that it's Christabel who's done it. But yeah, I was with you. I was like, oh, who was her intended victim there? Because it was actually Angie's teacup that she put the poison in. Angie put the poison in her teacup and somehow managed to do a switcheroo, which
Yeah.
then I think got switcherooed again.
See, I think that,
Confusing.
yeah,
That
maybe
could have
it
gone
was.
so wrong.
Well, by this point, I wasn't sure who it was because I thought
Mm,
there were too many sort of things pointing towards it not being Angie.
mm,
Um, so I was like, oh, maybe it is Christabel then, if she's done this switcheroo. So I thought, okay,
mm.
I'll follow this red herring.
It definitely was a good red herring with Christabel and the whole teacup thing at that point because I was like, I did doubt myself a little bit. I was like, maybe, we're getting so close to the end of the book. Maybe it is Christabel.
Yeah,
Um,
because I was sort of remembering at that point how adamant Christabel had been that the camping trip had to go ahead. Um,
mm,
so I thought, yeah, maybe it's her.
Yeah.
Obviously I was wrong.
And adamant as well that Angie should come on the trip as
Mm,
well. Mm, suspicious. Good red herring. That was a good red herring, definitely.
yeah,
Sometimes we get some dodgy ones, but that
yeah.
was a good one.
That one definitely threw me off the scent.
Sharon put, I'd love to see your search history, Shelley. Well, if you think mine's bad, imagine what Cat's is probably like.
Yeah, you don't want to see that.
Oh dear. Um, Sharon put, it's an explosive about the flare gun. I think that was when we were saying, would there be much damage?
Yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah. I mean, I expect some burns and things. I was just surprised that it would go
Like
through the
through the
skull.
skull.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
exactly. Yeah. See, we
Sharon knows
think
more than
these
we do.
things. Dawn says stewed raspberries is such a good description. Yeah, it's put me off raspberries for a while. Sharon says I'm adding that to my Halloween food choices, stewed raspberries.
Oh, nice.
Um, Sharon said, I think it was the way she reacted to Tyler's death, so selfish. So that was with regards to Christabel and Ron having a bit of fallout, or Ron being um, a bit, weird. Oh, to whose death? Sorry,
Yeah, I
to
was
Tyler's
thinking, who's
death.
Tyler?
Yeah. Oh, Tracy's maybe that was meant to be. To
Okay.
Tracy's death. Yeah, maybe. Um, Yeah, it could have been. So Ron, because basically Christabel, so Christabel is this queen bee bitchy character, and she just cared about herself basically, and we all like a bitchy character in these books, but yeah, her reaction to the deaths were a bit bizarre. Did you think?
Yeah, but I mean, she's a very sort of self-centered type character, so I was going with it.
Mm,
You know,
yeah,
I was like, not giving her the benefit of the doubt, but just sort of playing along with the character.
yeah, she was such a good character. I mean, I love the fact, I think I wrote down, yeah, she bought this bikini for this trip, thinking that bikini was acceptable for the trip, and it had like brass kind of rings on it, which is so like 90s, I think. It really
Yeah,
gave me like a vibe of 90s. And I think someone kind of implies, oh, you better not wear that when there's a thunderstorm.
yeah. Was it Angie that said that
I
you'd be
think
like a
it might have
lightning rod?
been. Yeah. But that I would have liked to see. That would have been a cool death, to be honest. Stick her in the bikini.
Yeah, difficult to set that up, but
You never know, Final Destination style. Could happen. It could have just been an accidental one, that, and Angie's like,
mm,
oh, the weather did the job for me.
yeah,
Oh dear. Sharon said Melanie's death was too short for me. Cyanide is a drawn out, agonising death. I'd have liked to see her suffer more. Oh dear. It was very quick.
yeah. I suppose that they had to get on with it a bit by that point, though, didn't
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We needed to get through the victims.
they?
Sharon said, I think maybe she intended the final death to be Melanie as she hated her the worst. Yeah. So that final death obviously ended up being Christabel. But yeah, maybe she wanted it to be Melanie. It just went wrong at that point with the teacups.
Well, I mean, technically, she saved James for last, and I couldn't really understand why. I mean, he wasn't the worst
Yeah.
to them.
No, he wasn't. I think, do you think that was because there was like that love growing between them and it distracted her a little bit from the plan?
Maybe, maybe. I mean, she'd said that she was going to set him up as the murderer,
Yeah, she did.
so I don't know.
Yeah.
See, that didn't really ring true for me either.
Because why would she, now I'm thinking about it, now you've said it, like, why would she blame Tyler the most
Who's
out
Tyler?
of all of them? Oh, but why? His name wasn't Tyler, is it? What
James?
is it? James. Sorry. Why? I don't know where this Tyler's come from. We've just made a whole new character up. But why would she blame James the most out of the whole group? Surely it would be Christabel she blames the
Yeah.
most.
Yeah, I didn't understand it. I
Mm,
mean, she blamed them all for getting Michael drunk,
yeah.
but I mean, there was no she didn't have details of, you were forcing him to drink, you spiked his drink or
Yeah,
whatever. So why would she hate one more than anyone else? And
yeah, that's so true. Mm. Yeah, she obviously just wanted the others to have agonising deaths with flare guns and poison and stuff, and maybe she couldn't figure out what what to do with James, or
yeah,
as I call him now, Tyler.
yeah, Tyler. We've renamed him.
Oh dear. But what got me with James though was he just liked to kiss her in really precarious situations as well. So they're scared looking for this killer, and he's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna like give her a kiss." And I think at one point they even kiss. So they put the bodies of Chip and another one in the shed at the back. And then I'm sure when they've put one body in there, they have a little smooch in the shed. I'm sure.
Was that in the shed? I don't
I'm
remember that.
sure it was like in the shed. Yeah, like they'd moved. Who had they moved? It was the one who died second. So Tracy.
Tracy.
So they'd
Yeah.
moved Tracy into the shed, and because obviously Tracy as well. Oh, that death.
Mm.
Oh, no, that was good. That because like you just knew that her allergies were going to come up.
Yeah, and it was a good death. I do enjoy a good tampered inhaler death. Uh,
Yeah,
but I also thought that was really mean. Like,
yeah,
Tracy had literally nothing to do with her reasoning for
no,
being there. And when you think that with the Holmbergs, she'd just given them some laxatives to get them out of the way, why couldn't she
mm,
have done that with Tracy?
yeah, and then just kept her alive rather than
Yeah,
killing her.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, but it was. I thought at that point as well. It was so obvious that it was Angie because she dropped the bucket of ashes to set the allergies off. So it was just so obvious. But yeah, so she obviously takes her nasal spray and it's actually, cyanide and
Mm.
you know, James is there sniffing it after, like smells of almonds.
It was quite
Oh,
sus the fact that he was like, oh yes, definitely cyanide.
yeah,
It's like, I mean,
yeah. And I
how
think
would you know?
doesn't Melanie say something like, "Oh God, we've got Sherlock Holmes and Agatha Christie here with us"? Classic. But yeah, so Tracy's kind of put in the shed, and I'm sure that James and Andy have a little smoochy after they put the body in there, and I'm just like, whoa, you have no shame.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe. We were not a fan of James. What did you think of James?
I didn't dislike James. I was a little bit confused by him, I'll admit. When they
Yeah.
are first talking about James, they say how he's kind of a nervy character, he worries about things. But
Mm,
then when you see him, I thought he doesn't really come across that way.
no.
I mean, he seemed as confident as the rest of them, really.
Yeah.
Apart from his really weird hobby, they call him an audio freak. He likes to record
Yes.
weird things. And it's like, what do you do with these recordings? Why? Why would you like record? Just
For what reason? What purpose?
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, obviously it was so that he'd have a reason to have a tape recorder in his pocket at the end,
Well, yes.
but it didn't really make a lot of sense as a hobby.
No, because he says he's recorded the whole of the school production of West Side Story, and that goes on for a while.
Yeah, I mean, that's like, somebody asking, would you like to see the slideshow of my holiday pictures? And it's like, the equivalent to that, but in audio format. Do you want to see this high school production, just audio? No.
Oh dear. I think they all say no to him as well. Like he says, "Well, I've got this," and no, no,
Oh,
thank you.
how was he part of the cool crowd if that was his
Oh.
hobby?
Yeah, I think that's why. Like, he doesn't come across as a James. So as soon as Sharon's planted Tyler in my head, I've just renamed him straight away because that's like sounds like one of the elite names, doesn't it? Really, but yeah, I wasn't sure about James. I just couldn't get over the fact that he just kept trying to kiss her in this, dangerous situations. And then he's like, oh no, I won't do it again. And then he does it in the shed. So,
I mean, on the plus side with James, at least he wasn't as shallow as the others, because he did say, he remembered Angie from when, pre makeover, and he did
yeah.
like her then. He liked her glasses, and he liked her as a person. So I thought,
Yeah.
I mean, bad judge of character, but at least he wasn't as shallow as the others.
Yeah, no, that's so true. So true. Oh dear, Sharon's put who would have taped her though. Honestly, it's freaky when you think about it. So yeah, the taping isn't it's a little bit weird.
Yeah.
Did you ever think it was James at any point?
No, I don't think I did. Well, there were no
Mm.
clues that I picked up on if there were any
Yeah,
red herrings laid out.
yeah,
No, I didn't think that he had it in him. When it was looking like it was going to be those two at the end,
yeah.
I thought, because by this point I thought, well, it can't be Angie because of all of these reasons.
Mm,
I
yeah,
thought, well, maybe they're both going to get, attacked by Amos. Maybe he's going to come back. I was like,
yeah.
who else could it be?
We haven't got many victims. It did cross my mind. I was like, "Oh, maybe we're going to get like that. The teachers who are pretending to be ill were actually the real killers, and they're just going round. I'll give you your extra credit with the flare gun."
Oh, I mean, if I was plotting it out, if Michael was like secretly their son, or he was connected to them somehow and they were
Yeah,
getting revenge on all the popular kids who did that to him, that
yeah.
would have been quite satisfying for me.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's that same, honestly. I saw Sharon put her death was straight out of Christie's. They do it with mirrors, so I presume Tracy's. I think that
Mm.
was about. Ah, okay, interesting. I like that. Hi, Cameron. So you mentioned about Amos as well. So Amos he was set up at the beginning, wasn't he? That the classic,
Mm.
road blockage. The police are there. There's some escaped person from the that's been committed, that's escaped. Classic Michael Myers. It was just like ripping off Halloween, right? So obviously we're meant to believe that this character Amos is the one picking the students off, but I don't think that landed for me because I
No, I
never
mean,
believed it was going to be him at all.
yeah, it was dismissed very quickly. I mean, you see
Mm,
him disappearing, going off in a canoe, and
yeah,
then he's never mentioned again, really.
no.
And I was expecting him to come back in some capacity at the end, whether it was like to foil the final murder or to be involved with it somehow,
Oh
um,
yeah, that would have been cool.
or even for his body to turn up. I thought that would have been,
Mm, just
at
like
least,
collateral damage kind of thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas he's just like set up as, a subplot that just never goes anywhere.
Yeah, it would have just been nice. I agree with you, just to have him, at the end maybe be the one that stops them rather than, the two teachers coming to the island. That would have been quite cool.
Yeah,
And a good play on the trope of that, oh, he's an escaped mental person and he's going to be bad. So that would have been a good play on that trope to have done something completely different
yeah,
there. Yeah, that would have been cool. And it was such a random scene where they just see him on the island and then he obviously just gets in the canoe and goes off. Like, I want to know why he was there. Like, you know,
yeah.
was he hiding on the island and then thought, oh, I'm not staying here with these teenagers bumping people off?
I can sort of imagine him just canoeing away, muttering to himself about pesky
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I think it was a red herring, but that didn't just take off for me. And I'll be honest, I had forgot about him by the end. I will admit. One thing that I wanted to ask you about James was there was obviously a whole backstory with James about how, you know, it was implied that after what happened with Michael, he's become depressed and, he had to go away for a while and, he's stopped drinking alcohol now and, he's on the straight and narrow kind of thing. So I know it's touched upon, and Christabel, being Christabel, obviously plays on that quite a lot and is awful to him about it. But do you think that it was handled quite well in the book? Like, it didn't really delve too much into it, but it just implied
Yeah,
certain things.
yeah. I think it was. I mean, I wasn't really reading closely to see
Mm,
whether that aspect of it held up, but I think from what I can remember, it was done okay.
yeah, I think so because I think it kind of it gave him a bit of a. Although, if I think about it now, was that put in to make you try and think it's James? So a little bit of a bad trope there. Do you know what I mean? Now I think about it, and now I've said it out loud.
I don't know because it was put forward by a character that you're not supposed to like, and
Mm,
nobody agrees with her.
yeah.
You know, it's not like everybody piles on James because of it. I don't think it read to me as
Mm,
being,
yeah.
you know, dicey.
Yeah. I thought it was just an interesting take to give him as part of his character, to be honest.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, especially when he's just randomly kissing her every time. I'm not over it, Kat. That's what it is. And especially when, or apparently his lips felt warm like silk and tasted fresh and spicy. No, thank you.
Like silk. Hmm.
Yeah. One person we hadn't mentioned was obviously the first victim, who was Chip. I think
Yeah.
we briefly mentioned, but he was hit on his head with a rock. And apparently they all try and convince each other that he's tripped and fell and the rock's just landed like way over there, miles away. Um, but yeah, obviously he gets shoved in the shed as well. And they obviously make this plan to the next day, go off in the canoes and they'll just leave Chip's body there and the police can deal with him. So
Was it his or Ron's that they leave?
I think, do they leave Ron's on the beach?
Yeah.
Don't they? Yeah, yeah. And they were just leaving bodies everywhere,
Yeah,
really.
I didn't really understand the first two bodies they dragged them into the shed,
Yeah.
but then Ron's they leave it on the beach. And I was like, I know he's a big lad, but wasn't Chip also kind of an athlete? So he
Yeah,
wasn't
so
small.
yeah, he was meant to be athletic, popular, a hunk, apparently.
Yeah, so I couldn't figure out why they'd managed to move Chip but not Ron.
Yeah, maybe they were just like, Ron's too messy. We're gonna get
Like,
like
don't want
mushed
jam hands.
raspberries everywhere. Yeah, we'll just leave him there. I think they do mention that it must be down like a lip of a hill where the beach was. So I think they do mention something about basically they can't be bothered to shove him up the hill. Oh, bless him. But yeah, did you, when we had that first death of Chip with the rock, were you then expecting like all the poison and all the flare gun deaths that happened after, or did you just think it was just going to be run of the mill, good old
uh,
rocks and stuff?
no, I thought, a rock is a good starter murder, but I didn't
Yeah.
think that was going to be, the climax of the methods of murder. So yeah, I was pleased that we went with the whole, poisoned
Mm.
nasal spray and then with the flare gun. Yeah, I
Yeah,
liked I mean, the flare gun was kind of like the best one,
that was
wasn't
the
it?
best. Yeah, I agree.
I think maybe they did that one a little bit too soon. Maybe they should have waited to the fourth or fifth to do the flare gun.
Mm.
But
Yeah, because obviously that was number three. So yeah, the game that was in the middle, I guess. But that
yeah,
flare gun gets tossed around a few times, doesn't it? After that, so there's like a bit of a threat.
yeah, felt slightly anticlimactic to go from flare gun to the head to just cyanide in the tea.
Yeah. Oh dear. And then obviously we with Christabel, we don't actually we see her dead, obviously at the end, and obviously she's sitting by a tree, her jaws agape. She's gone like this bluish colour, and she's got the flare gun next to her, and obviously she's dead. And we find out she's been killed by a carving knife dipped in. Now I don't know how you say it. Is it Carrere? Carrere? It's like an American. I think the poison that the American Indians used in their arrows.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
don't
sure how
know
you
how.
say it.
I'm not sure either.
Yeah. But would you have liked to have seen that death on the page rather than? I know we saw all of them virtually off the page. We didn't actually see the deaths happen, but I think it would have been nice just to see one death like happen in real time, and that would have been good to be Christabel. That would have
Yeah,
been so cool.
I mean, it would have been nice to see it, but it also would have been. I mean, you know by that point who it is, but
Yeah,
it would have given it all away.
yeah, yeah. I just wanted to see her suffer because she was
Yeah.
just awful. Oh dear. Sharon said, "Poor Mad Amos." Yeah, definitely. Sharon said, "I think I expected there to be a big heap of bodies in the shed by the end."
Yeah, and just like pushing the door closed because
Yeah,
they won't go.
it must be a thing because I read a book. I can't remember what it was called now. I read a book last year, and funny enough, it had like a Swedish sauna and a Swedish hot tub thing, and there was a hot tub death in this book. It was like a newish book. I'll have to try and find. But in that one, the bodies start piling up, and they all just end up in the shed as well. So it must just be a thing.
I mean, you've got to get them out of the way before they start to smell,
Yeah.
haven't you?
And that was like on a remote island as well. So, let that be a lesson. If you go to a remote island and see a shed, uh-oh. Oh dear. Karen said shoved in the shed would make a great point horror book title.
Yeah.
Definitely. And the sequel being shove him up the hill. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
And Sharon said with Kate Bush playing in the background.
I'm shoving up that hill.
Oh dear. Except if you're this group and they're like, he can just stay on the beach. I can't be bothered. Oh dear. So talking about the ending then. So did you like the whole so obviously we find out Angie's the killer as we've mentioned, and obviously she's plotted this revenge on this elite group for her friend who got driven off drove himself off the cliff. Um and she has like a whole scene set out in her mind of setting up James as the killer, like we said, and her being kind of this final girl. So I kind of imagined her like Jill from Scream 4, in this like, oh, I'm gonna be the final girl, and then everyone's gonna be, oh no, poor Angie. So what did you think her plan was a good plan in theory?
I suppose there's only one of two ways she could have tried to play it out. Is that she
Mm,
could have the way she wanted to and make it look like it had been James. Although
yeah.
why she chose him, I don't know. Well,
No, yeah, we're not sure on that one.
yeah, I mean, she was probably going on the whole like problematic assumption that they think because he'd been in an institution that he was
Mm, yeah.
more likely to have done it. But she could also have blamed it on Amos.
Yeah, she could have quite easily blamed it on Amos. She
I
had the
mean, he
perfect
was
scapegoat.
exactly.
Mm,
He could even have kept James alive because he didn't suspect her at the end.
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
But he
because
wanted to.
she could have just said to James, "Oh, it must be Amos," couldn't she? She could have got away with it all.
Yeah, she could have just said, well, James was sort of not with her. I just saw Amos, he's obviously back. He just went running off into the trees with, a little
Mm.
bottle of cyanide in his hand and a paring knife.
In his red shirt,
Yeah.
yeah, in his canoe. Oh dear. No, that's so true. Yeah, she could have just said that. Oh, she missed a trick there. She could have got away with it all.
Yeah. And
But
then she wouldn't have admitted anything on, the audio
no, on
tapes
the
recorded.
audio, yeah, exactly. It's when she references, oh, he's standing there with his hand in his pocket, and I was like, And like, I was like, well, I don't want to know what he's doing, but obviously it's going to be the recording, right?
I didn't actually understand why he had his hand in his pocket because he said he'd been recording for ages before that. So I was like, what's he fiddling with his recorder for then? Or
Yeah.
maybe he wasn't fiddling with his recorder.
Fiddling with his recorder. Also, as well, don't you think Angie should have been absolutely shattered? Because obviously everything's going on in the cabin and all that, and she's doing all this extra overtime of killing all these people. She should have been absolutely wiped out. Very busy villain.
Oh well, she'd probably been raiding her dad's pharmaceutical supplies and got herself sorted.
That's so true. Oh, Sharon said we best not dwell on the why he had his hand in his pocket.
Fair.
Yeah, so true. And so obviously as well, the book ends very abruptly. Like I think the last line, let me just go to it. Because I was reading it and I thought I still had quite a bit to go. But obviously this much of it is like about another book
Yeah.
that they're trying to promote. So I was like, oh, I've got loads to go, so something else must happen. But basically, um, it goes, yes, you're an audio freak and I'm a science nerd. The freaks, I said, that's Angie. I said, with rising hysteria, have triumphed over the nerds. And I was a bit like, well, haven't you really triumphed over the elite, not the nerds?
No, they're not nerds, are they?
So I was a bit, that took me out of it a little bit. And then it says, hot tears were streaming down my cheeks as the Holmbergs came towards us, calling our names. So what do we think happened, like, at the end? Do you like endings that just end abruptly like that? I was like, I know, I need more.
Well, yeah, by that point, by the point that it was revealed that it actually was Angie, I was sort of rolling my eyes a bit because I thought at that point, I've been enjoying this and I thought, these twists have been leading me astray because I thought it had to be Angie and then it couldn't be Angie because of all these things that still have not been explained.
Yeah.
So yeah, the ending, I was okay with it ending there because I thought, well, there's nothing that they can add that is going to make it make sense to me. So
Yeah. No, okay, so you were good with it. I was a bit like, oh, I just want to know, like, all I need is just like a little epilogue. That's all I needed. Just to say, like, what happened. Like, I want to know what the Holmbergs thought about all these dead bodies around the island.
yeah, it
You
would have been
know.
nice just to have like a little scene of them arriving and being like, oh, is that
Whoa.
Ron lying down over there on the beach? Let's go and see. Oh, raspberry jam.
Raspberry jam. Oh dear. Yeah, it would have just been nice, just a little bit, because they did reference, didn't they, multiple times, like when the Holmbergs get to the island, the first thing they're going to see is Ron. But clearly they didn't. I'm guessing because they weren't coming up with some urgency, really, were they? They were just like,
No.
"Hiya, feeling better now." Oh dear. Yeah, Sharon put, I wanted them to go in the shed. What, dead in the shed?
Yeah, just finding all of these bodies everywhere and just like panicking, like we shouldn't have let them go on their own. We're going to be in so much trouble.
Yeah, Sharon put, bet there was no more class trips.
Not with
Can
the
you
Holmberg
imagine?
supervising.
Can you imagine the paperwork? Oh dear. And Speedway Chick said, no endings like that. No, endings like that keep me up at night. Yeah. But then it's kind of cool to make your own ending up. Like, but I just want to know, like, I'd love it to be that James couldn't convince the Holmbergs that it was actually Angie, and then Angie gets away with it and turns it on James. That would have been so cool. That'll teach him.
Yeah. Or maybe if at that point he'd said, oh, hang on, I've just remembered, I've recorded everything. I've got you here.
Da, da, da. Yeah, that would have been so cool as well. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. I mean, that hobby's never cool, but.
Speedway Chick just said, is there a second one? So there is, in fact, a class trip too. Now,
Ah.
I haven't read it yet, but now I'm intrigued because I just want to know if the Holmbergs get a second try at taking the kids. And is it on the same island or whatever? So I'm going to have to look it up. Oh, Sharon's put the second one is a completely different group of people.
Oh,
Oh,
not even James.
not even James. Oh, sad. Oh dear. So just lastly then, so you mentioned about how there were some things that made you think that didn't make sense in the book. So what were some of them things to you? Or have we already mentioned them?
Most of them, I think, we've probably at least
Yeah.
referenced a little bit, but yeah, it was just mostly, I think, as I was reading it, and obviously not knowing what the conclusion was,
Mm,
the way that Angie was reacting to things didn't make sense to me.
yeah.
For it to have been her.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they do just reference, don't they? Oh, James does. Oh, you must be such a good actress because he was completely fooled. Um, the one thing that firmed it up for me, I think, is when they're going through. Is it when they're going through the cabin, or at some point she tells James she needs to share his flashlight because hers isn't working, and it's just after they've searched the cabin for like the cyanide bottle, and I was like straight away, we know what's in that battery compartment. Little bottles of poison.
I was also thinking, well, why would she draw attention to that?
Yeah, that's true. Why no one suspected to look in the torch. So yeah, why did she?
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't somebody have said, "Oh, let me take a look at your torch and fix it for you"? And
Yeah,
it's opening up that possibility, isn't it? And it's
that's
like,
so
why,
true.
why would she have drawn attention to that? But
Perhaps you just like living on the edge and like risking it and thinking, oh, let's see if they can catch me
yeah,
and
I
catch me
mean,
out.
she did pretty much outsmart all of them apart from James, so
Yeah.
it wasn't wrong.
Yeah, very true. Sharon says, plot holes you can drive a tank through, but a fun hour of weirdness. Yeah,
Agreed,
so
totally.
overall, did you have fun with this one? You
I
enjoyed
did.
it?
I mean, it was so ridiculous. I loved it. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly as Sharon says, massive big plot holes.
But good
But
gruesome deaths.
it's best not to pick these things apart too
I
much.
know
Just
this.
enjoy
This is the
it.
thing. Normally, like when I'm chatting about these books, I don't think about it until I'm like talking. And I'm like, oh, wait, wait a second.
Do you find
Something
that
weird.
changes your opinion of the book afterwards?
Sometimes, like
Yeah.
sometimes for the good, like sometimes if I'm not sure about a book and then I chat about it, I'm like, actually now I see it. I see like it was good, but yeah, sometimes it does go the other way. Because like we pick it apart and then it's just like, oh wait a sec, like maybe it's not as good as what I thought it was.
Yeah.
But I had fun with this one. I
Yeah.
thought the deaths were like flare gun death is just brilliant. I mean, without giving too much away, if you haven't read the other book that Love You to Death, I do recommend it. And there's a brilliant hot tub death in there. So good. And with multiple casualties.
Oh, did somebody drop a toaster in it or something?
An electric heater.
Ah, a classic.
Classic. So yeah, I did like the deaths, and I do think so. The author is it BB? I don't know how you say her name. BB Fast Rice. I'm gonna say, but I do think she comes up with some really creative deaths that just
Yeah.
keep you hooked, like throughout. Regardless of the plot holes. Like as soon as like that flare gun death happened, I was like, she's just genius.
Yeah.
just love her.
Just like, whatever happens, I'm down.
Yeah, that's it. So I think, yeah, I think for me that pulled it through rather than thinking like, why, why, and also why did she have to wait until they went on the trip? Surely she could have I suppose it was because isolated setting and whatnot. I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think killing anybody before they'd arrived on the island would have just
Mm,
cancelled the trip. So I could see that.
yeah, that's true. Yeah. Hmm.
But I feel bad for Tracy still. I think that was really bang out of order.
That
Anybody
was.
else, she sort of had a
Yeah.
tenuous reason to kill, but
Yeah.
not Tracy.
Yeah, because Tracy wasn't even there at that party and had nothing to do with Michael. Bless her. Oh
Yeah.
dear. But just shows Angie's unhingedness that she didn't really care. She was like, oh well, she was stupid enough to come on the trip, so she had to die. Speed Rating said, I liked this, so many bodies. And Sharon said, I really enjoyed this one. Yeah, I do love like an old 90s book with a really high body count. And I love finding those. It's like finding treasure, I think, because there's so many of them where you just get zero bodies. So I think finding one with a really high body count is, a gem.
Yeah,
To be
agreed.
honest,
Yeah.
yeah, like finding little treasure. Oh, Kat, thank you for reading it and for chatting.
Oh,
I was
thank
like,
you.
I was thinking earlier, like, how am I going to like chat about this one? Because I knew I was going to end up having to jump around with like the victims and stuff like that. But yeah, we did it.
We got through it.
Yay! We did. Well, no, thank you for reading. And obviously, do check out Kat's amazing books. I'll put a few of them up on my Instagram tomorrow as well, definitely. And it's always a pleasure, Kat. So thank you so much.
I always enjoy coming on. Thank you very much, Shelley, and
Oh,
thanks everyone for joining.
yeah. Thanks everyone in the comments as well. I'm so glad people enjoyed this. I just did it randomly, very last minute, short notice. So, I'm so pleased that it went down well. And watch out for flare guns because
Absolutely.
they're just dangerous. All right, guys. Thank you. And thanks, Kat. Speak to you soon. Bye. Bye.